Is that true? Is consulting really a lonely career? How prepared you are for consulting career? The very definition of consulting is collaborative problem solving. Collaboration, teamwork is in the DNA of consulting career. In communication theory, the very definition of consulting is collaborative problem solving. If you ask any consulting aspirant to visualize a work day, they'll always talk about they are visualizing that they are sitting in a boardroom with some consulting colleagues, some people from client side, and they are solving strategic problems for the client. So, in a nutshell, collaboration, teamwork is in the DNA of consulting career. But despite of that, if you ask any early tenure consultant what's the biggest thing that is bothering them in the first year, they'll talk about the feeling of loneliness. A lot of them will tell you that they are feeling alone, isolated, and they are wondering whether consulting is a lonely career. Is that true? Is consulting really a lonely career? The simple answer, it depends. It depends on so many factors. It depends on your personality, the culture of the firm that you are working in, the kind of people that you are working in, the kind of project you are staffed on, but very importantly, how prepared you are for consulting career. Given that we have limited control on all the other factors other than preparedness, I am going to invest today's time to discuss about how should one prepare to fight or prevent the potential loneliness. I'm going to divide this discussion into two parts. First part is to understand the psychology of an early tenure consultant and figure out why actually they feel lonely. And the second part would be what should they do to avoid or fight this loneliness. Broadly, the factors that make consultants feel lonely at work can be divided into two areas. First, physical loneliness, and that is loneliness felt because of being physically alone or separated. Second is feeling of loneliness, and that is psychologically feeling alone or isolated. In consulting, the physical loneliness can happen due to three reasons. First is independent work, be it students coming out of university or professionals coming out of industry. If they are used to continuously work collaboratively, then sometimes analytical tasks like modeling, research, etc. can bring discomfort, because in these tasks a lot of time consultants have to work on one task without any contact or collaboration with the other colleagues. Alone at the client side. Now consider this work setting. You are working on cost optimization project wherein the cost cutting is happening across 3 factories, and each factory has been allocated to one consultant, and manager will visit the client side something like once a week. Now this kind of setting can be daunting, especially if you are new to consulting, because barring the manager's visit once in a week, you are guarding the post alone with client personnel who look and feel very different from your consulting colleagues away from home. Although these days you can be in touch with your family members very regularly through audio calls, video calls, Zoom, and so many other tools. But despite of that, being physically away for an entire week can be actually challenging. And especially in consulting projects where the projects will last for 5 months, 6 months, wherein every week you are traveling. And this can actually set in loneliness. Now let's talk about feeling of loneliness. It has more complex and psychological triggers. The first one is feeling misunderstood. Now this misunderstanding in consulting project typically happens because of inefficient workflows. Let's talk about a classical example of that. Let's say your manager gives you an analysis to do on Monday and is expecting the outcome on Friday. You jump head down into the analysis. You don't clarify any assumptions, you don't share any early hypothesis, you do not share any structure, and directly on Friday you submit the result. And of course, the manager doesn't like the outcome, it thrashes you completely, and you come out of the meeting saying the manager doesn't understand me. These are the incidences that sow the seeds of the feeling of being misunderstood. The feeling of being misfit can come because of many reasons. Being the only specialist in a team full of generalists, or being the only non-Ivy League background consultants in a team, and so on and so forth. All these things come because of imposter syndrome or self-doubt. Hyper competition. People get consulting job through fiercely competitive process, but they don't realize that the competition doesn't end there. The competition to get to a very good project, the competition to be ahead of the curve and get promoted early, the competition never ends. Because of that, it's likely that consultants see their peers as competition all the time. And this is a problem because it not only affects the work dynamics, but it also prevents any kind of bonding and also creates the feeling of being isolated or lonely. Here are some of the best practices that you can use to fight or prevent loneliness at work. Some of these are mindset shifts and the others are actions or habits. Get the expectation right. A lot of things about consulting career you already knew. You already knew that it is competitive. You already knew that it requires travel. Then why get worked up now that you have already taken the decision? Why not align the expectations? Have a perpetual learner attitude. Suppose that you are a marketing manager before joining consulting. And now that you are in consulting, you are sitting in a factory with a factory manager and designing some of the processes. Now, one way to look at it is getting frustrated and thinking, what am I doing? But second way to actually say, how amazing is it? Isn't it broadening my perspective? Isn't it adding to my skill set? The point is to be a perpetual learner and dip yourself wholeheartedly in a situation and get the most out of it. Always have a big picture mindset. Why did you join consulting? For career acceleration, to do something different, to solve strategic problems. Now, all these experiences will put you in some kind of discomfort. But believe me, in long term, this discomfort will give you handsome returns. Push yourself through this tough time and you will really reap the benefits of consulting career. Settle the home front. A lot of time, the feeling of loneliness gets intense if something at the home front is getting compromised. I highly suggest that you get your house in order before joining the consulting, so that in the first year, your family becomes your support system and not the point of distraction. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Effective communication solves many problems. However busy you are on the project, please regularly communicate with your family. Communicate with your team, your work style, work preferences, so that there is no misunderstanding on the project. If you have been on back-to-back away projects, then communicate with your staffing manager your need to be staffed on home city project. Build relationship. Now it is easier said than done in consulting context where the project and the people on it keep on changing every other month. However, let me give you a few tips. First of all, however busy you are, try and attend the networking event, the trainings arranged by the firm, so that you are well connected in the firm. Secondly, though your projects keep on changing, try and keep in touch with the colleagues from the previous projects. Thirdly, when you are at the client side, do mingle with the client personnel. Take them on a coffee, on lunch. Essentially, what I'm saying is invest in human time. It will not only prevent loneliness, but will build amazing relationships. I firmly believe that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And this is so much true in early parts of the consulting career. The more you prepare, the better you will land in this beautiful career called consulting. The career that you aspired for, the career that you prepared hard for, and the career that is going to give you amazing returns in long term. Be prepared and enjoy being a consultant.